Please make your fiats to Beloved Surya. Let us sing My Wonderful One. We're going to sing to our mighty I Am Presence. (462). Please make fiats to your mighty I Am Presence. Please give your fiats to Sanat Kumara and Lady Master Venus. Let us sing to beloved Hercules. Give us the number. $347. Please make your fiats. Please be seated. Put your books away. I want to remind you that a very important seminar is beginning tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Healing with the 5 transformations, the elements. I consider, next to the teachings of the Ascended Masters and their dictations, the teachings on correct diet, especially as it is brought to us by our dear friend Stephen Akoff, to be absolutely the most important thing in your life, because by following these teachings, you can prolong your life and the quality of life that you have in your brain, your body, your heart, and being. So he comes all the way from Sweden and will probably not return for an entire year to be here in person. Starts at 10, and this part of the program goes until 5:30 after dinner. From 7 p.m. on, as long as you want, he will give questions and answers on general matters. Then on Tuesday, the correct food for supporting male and female energy and polarity, the correct food for increasing your life force, chi, the correct food for spiritual development. And again in the evening, questions and answers to your heart's delight on the correct macrobiotic diet for pregnancy, mothers, and children. See it in person, because when you come in person, you can ask questions. When you only have the tape, you can't ask the tape questions. So let us honor our beloved guest who has given to us so very, very much on the path of good health, and please be present. We'll have our meditation for Hercules. To the world that is earth we go, and to the earth we say, like it or not, here we come, for we, the legions of Hercules in Amazonia, are on the march. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are marching by the millions, and we come with that tremendous force of Helios and Vesta, of Alpha and Omega, of the Son of Helios and Vesta, of the all-seeing eye of God, which you are well nigh clearing the false hierarchies who would suppress, can you imagine, the living presence of the eye of God and the wholeness of the eye of God, the living presence of Helios and Vesta and the sun behind the sun. Well, they become more stupid by the year, do they not? We come, beloved hearts, yes, we come. We come in the defense of the messengers of God. We come in defense of the chelas of the will of God. For who else can we defend except those who are in alignment with that will, that wondrous law, and that law that is empowerment. Know the law and you shall conquer. Know the law divine and you shall be the advocate for all those who do not understand what it means to be on the right side of the law. Know the law, beloved ones, and you can defend every little one. Know the law and you will make your ascension in the light. Ignorance of the law of the first ray is no excuse, and we are here to tell you, we Hercules in Amazonia, that you must become knowledgeable of the laws human and divine, that you are not caught and caught again by the traps of the fallen ones who themselves are too lazy to learn the law. That is some of them, but the arch deceivers, they are masters of the law, and therefore Satan, he did quote the law to Jesus, and Jesus quoted back to him the higher law. Therefore understand, beloved hearts, that to know the will of God, to know the law of God, is to love it. If you are born of God and born of the light and have gone listing to this side or listing to that side, I tell you it is because you have not known of the riches of the Spirit of the living God, and that the law itself, as well as the lawgiver, is power and empowerment. Now be seated, beloved ones, for you are in the presence of the Elohim of power, the Elohim who can empower you, the Elohim who look right through you and back again. And therefore we see any out of alignment state in any of your four lower bodies, and we desire to help you. How can you move about in ignorance of the law of your own body? How can you not know what is happening inside of your body? Well, beloved, this is the day when I say, awake, 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 and know that you are the masters of your body, else you are the slaves of your body, else you are the slaves of your appetites, false appetites. Come to know, beloved, that there is no greater joy you shall ever attain to than the joy of absolute God victory over this flesh, over this heart, over these emotions, over these desires, over these feelings, and over all of the clogging of the mind and the pores of your being with that substance that simply does not allow the light of the sun of Helios and Vesta to pass through your pores. So you see, there are others besides fallen ones who are blocking the light of the cosmic Christ in you. Well, it is you yourself, your own worst enemy, and I do not speak of your dweller on the threshold. I speak of you, you very you. Well, you see, everyone decides to blame everything that is wrong with themselves on their dweller on the threshold. as if this were some beast in the corner with a chain around his neck somehow, who leaps forward and does all of these crazy things in your name, and you get blamed for them, but it is not you. Well, I tell you, it is you. It is you, beloved. It is you in the nexus of free will, in the nexus of the mind, in the decision to get up in the morning or to stay in bed, to go to work or not go to work, to eat right or to eat wrong. These are decisions that you make. And therefore, by wrong decision, you may increase the beast of the dweller, but you must understand that that beast is not sitting in the corner. That beast has placed himself, woven himself into the fabric of your being, and so you must fast out the beast. Some of you have not gone through your Lenten fast. It is a bit late, but it is better late than never. So I recommend a fast of many kinds, fasting from the world and its consciousness, fasting from those foods, fasting thereby for the purging in springtime to bring back life to your forces. Spring comes late in this section of the world, and therefore you have plenty of time to partake of the herbs that grow in this season. Yes, beloved, this is your temple. And you will not get another one until your next life, you see. And if you want to wait till your next life to get another temple, well, the world will pass you by. Your dweller may have grown a bit more, and circumstances might be a little bit less pleasant. Now is the time for the fortification of the mind by fortifying the vessel of the mind, which is the brain, which is a part of your physical body. Thus fortify each and every one of your organs by the power of light, by the power of victory, by the power of absolute God conviction that by your mighty I am presence, your body will come into alignment and you will be enlightened concerning the causes and effects that are in your body. This is a statement well taken, well put, beloved, for you see, if you knew the truth, you would discover that by not having the proper thoughts and feelings, by having a negative attitude about yourself, by believing every little piece of information that someone tells you who shouldn't be telling you anything, that you have this sickness, you have that sickness, you have this problem, you have that problem, and you believe it as though you had gone to a witch doctor and that witch doctor had cast a sentence upon you and you could no longer live, and so you go into this morbidity. I tell you, aside from the calls on the misuse of healing on this planet that you ought to be giving on Wednesday night, are the calls of the healing decrees themselves. You ought to be trusting in God for your healing, using the support of those practitioners who are wise and able to assist you, but not for one moment giving in to any verdict whatsoever, whereby you are told that this, that, and the next thing is wrong with you, and it is incurable, and you shall die, die, die. Blessed hearts, I warn you, because among you there are individuals who have become hypochondriacs. Beloved ones, you are continually tending that body and taking all sorts of potions and add mixtures of this and that type of supplement, vitamin, etc., and you are doing damage to your bodies one by one, instead of pursuing a vigorous exercise program, getting into the line of the sun of Helios and Vesta, commanding your body to raise up that presence of wellness, that presence of right mindfulness, that absolute firm conviction that declares to the body that it will not be ill, it will not say die, it will not go down until you have fulfilled your mission, and you fully intend to fulfill your mission, and then you will be humble and obedient before the laws of health and the laws of chemistry, which you will learn if you will take the time to listen to the expert that we have sent you, and therefore you will know a life where your own Christ self can enter this body and be comfortable and work through you and move through you. Blessed hearts, it is a serious matter when you accept a prognostication, a verdict on your body, and do not challenge it, and do not call to your holy Christ self and your body elemental to reverse this, and you do not study what you can do yourself to change matters, to heal matters. It is quite a thing to behold. And I must bow my head sometimes to think that Chelas of El Moria will so indulge themselves in fear by what the experts, so-called, have told them about their bodies, when they are the only experts on their own bodies. At least you would be, if you would have been studying all these years on the texts that we have also brought to you. Well, I am Hercules, and I have been in physical embodiment, and you have heard the tales, some of them, of course, very much embellished, about my labors. But I tell you, even without embellishment, those labors were difficult, and I was subject in those days to the bodies that others wore, and yet I had my strength, I completed my labors, and I balanced some karma I made along the way. So you cannot tell me, Hercules, you don't know how it feels to be in physical embodiment. Well, not only do I know how it feels to be in physical embodiment, I know how it feels to fight against forces of darkness bent on my utter and total destruction, even the destruction of my soul. And I know what it means, believe me, to be in this world and to summon the strength and summon the forces that are necessary to defeat any adversary. And the adversary keeps coming, and the adversary is cunning, and if you are not alert in your mind, that adversary will insert things into your life without you examining them, and those very things could spell your undoing. You must be watchful and recognize that every sweet soul who comes to you yet has the vestige of the dweller on the threshold. And in all of those labors where I fought for my life, for my victory, for my initiations, and fought for my self-imposed penance to balance the karma that I had made, well, beloved ones, there was always the dweller on the threshold lurking in anyone who would come my way, even the most loving and wonderful people. So beware of this, and beware that that dweller can inject into the mind of another jealousy and envy of whatever you may have, whether it be your husband or wife or children, or what your possessions are, or your good health. And you know the stories of the evil eye. It is best to keep to yourself your good fortunes. Yes, beloved, remember then that the fiat given and the charge given by Mark Prophet to you was to trust no man. Now this could make life very sad, but you see, you trust the Christ in each one. You speak to the Christ in each one. You speak to that oversoul. You speak to the guardian angel. And you go to the very heart of that which is real, and you support the soul that is not quite yet gone to the altar to be made the wife of her spouse. Yes, beloved, you can be the friend of everyone, and you can have a relationship of trust as long as it is in God you trust and in that individual. And therefore, since you do not trust the carnal mind, the dweller on the threshold, then you must examine mood, vibration, what comes out of the mouth of another. Shall you believe it or shall you not believe it? Well, you shall research the matter. You shall go after it. You shall leave no stone unturned, but you shall guard the physical vessel, the physical vehicle, for it is the dwelling place not only of your Christ self, but ultimately of Elohim. Perfect the body and see what hosts of the Lord will come before you, behind you, to your right, to your left, will come and dwell with you and in you and be the presence of God around you. When you have the perfectionment of self, you will have the strength as well as the softness. You will have the Tao Te Ching. You will have the power of the great Tao itself. You will know the meaning of the words of that book. You will know the wisdom of those who have gone before you. You will have equanimity. You will have balance. and you will not be moved by whatever anyone does or says to you. You will not be moved by any condition in your body or in your flesh. You will direct the ray of light into it and accept your absolute victory and your absolute God immortality. This then I speak to you. I speak of guarding the physical envelope, for I have been in physical embodiment, and Amazonia has held a balance for me while I was in physical embodiment, overseeing then the attempt to bring up the race of woman in South America, only to see them enter into degradation upon degradation. Yes, beloved, it is very difficult for a twin flame ascended or in higher octaves to hold the balance for another in the earth. And the one who is in the earth does thereby benefit greatly to have that tie to octaves of light, and therefore do not take it for granted. If there are those among you who think your twin flame is not ascended, be not concerned, for your twin flame is in actuality your own mighty I Am presence and your own holy Christ self. And the other half of that pattern is vested in your twin flame, who may be evolving on earth or elsewhere. Thus all of you have a mighty anchor in heaven, and that mighty anchor is sufficient. That is the grace of God that is sufficient for you. And I say, let that grace be sufficient for you. Let it be sufficient, beloved ones. And then you can lend an ear to all kinds of people who give you all kinds of advice. But remember, it is your mind, it is your heart, it is your body, and you must decide what you will do with it. And often what decides you is the subconscious, is the unconscious mind, is the psychology of that situation, whereby when you feel bad about yourself, you do bad things to your body and you eat bad things. And so many pass from the screen of life. And I tell you, beloved, they have the karma of that body. If you ruin your body, you have a karma with your body and your body elemental. Do you think you will then automatically embody with a wonderful body? No, beloved, you will bring back the karma of your last embodiment. So don't think you can get away with anything, even the misuse of the physical body. It will return to haunt you in your next life and in your next life. There are many among you today who carry weaknesses in your body that did not begin in this lifetime. You inherited them because you created them in previous lifetimes. So now is the time to get to the bottom of the psychology, get to the bottom of your eating habits, and recognize that you eat to live, not to surfeit yourselves. You eat to have a body that is the instrument of the adepts of an entire planet. When that body is in right alignment, beloved, you will see and feel the power of God descending upon you when, I say when, you are doers of the will of God and not only hearers of the word. Those who do not do the will of God, who do not enter into the alignment with the law of God, we cannot defend. We are not authorized to defend. They are out of the pale of our blessing. Thus know the law of God. How will you know to do the will of God if you do not know the law of God? Well, it is quite simple. You are going to make some bungling mistakes. You are going to think you are doing right when you are not doing When you are not doing right, you're going to turn this way or that way when you should be going straight ahead. Knowing the law and knowing the will of God is the guarantor of your individual Christhood, and the guarantor that you can set an example, a matrix, an outline for your children and all those entrusted to your care. And when you have the absolute conviction of the law because you embody the law, then you can speak with love and kindness and a gentle warning. No, no, do not go in that direction. There is danger in that direction, I assure you. And when you say such things that are based upon the profoundness of your Christhood, when in you lives the Lord our righteousness, when you meditate upon the law of God day and night, and do assimilate the word, as has been said today, the words of the published and unpublished teachings, which many of you have scarcely even gotten into, though you've been on the path for many years. When you know the teaching and the law, then you know the answers. Then you know the approach to every equation of life. It is those who do not know the laws of God who make the biggest mistakes, and who have made those mistakes for centuries by taking the wrong turn. Most of you have made a number of wrong turns in life just in driving your vehicles here and there, and sometimes it takes quite a bit of time to go all the way around again and come back to the place where you made the wrong turn. Well, some wrong turns in life somehow can never be undone, can never be redone. They involve much too much involved in planning, in finance, in service, in work, in whatever is the next road and the next road and the next road. Somehow people do not come back to square one until it is too late, and they can no longer undertake the challenge of a lifetime that they should have begun so very long ago, or should have finished at least before they went on to the next course. So we are on the march in the earth. We are marching then in the defense of the messengers of God. The first messenger of God that you know is your own Holy Christ self. Your Holy Christ self brings you the message of your mighty I Am presence, if you have ears to hear and a heart that is so inclined. And since most people do not, God sends prophets and messengers, and therefore they are protected also, for they are under the mantle of God. And the saints of God, of course, are classified among those who do the will of God, and they too are protected. So we desire to expand our area of protection. We desire to draw under the canopy of the protection of the Elohim of the first ray many who, if they knew better, would do better, and therefore they need teachers of the law of karma and reincarnation, teachers of the law proclaimed by the Buddha, by the Christ, by Zarathustra, teachers who are willing to study, to understand what are the elements that a soul must be aware of in order to have a glorious victory in this life. Blessed hearts, I ask you then, as others have said before, be a mouthpiece of Hercules and Amazonia. Be a mouthpiece of the law of God, and enjoy that law as you savor your most favorite food or your most favorite book. Yes, beloved, the law is a living flame of love. Justice is love, mercy is love, and when you love enough to know the law whereby you can defend the rights of your own soul who has been persecuted by others lifetime after lifetime, when you know the law of the path of your Christhood, and you know what is allowed, the types of initiations that will come to you on this hand from Satan, on that hand from Lucifer, on this hand from your own dweller on the threshold, and on the other hand from your best friends. When you understand that these initiations are all written in the law books of heaven, and that every son and daughter of God who is worth his salt and has that metal must undergo those initiations and get beyond them, and also heal the scars with the glorious body and blood of Jesus Christ that is manifest, that is transformed in the ritual of transubstantiation through the violet flame itself. Yes, beloved, when you understand the tests that have gone before the saints, when you put yourself in their sandals and walk on the roads that they have walked, when you understand that there is a succession of initiations that are given to you that are hard tests, but that can be passed, and they can be passed in the best way when you have studied the law and you know the law regarding that initiation. When you are totally ignorant, then you simply fall in with a band of thieves, or you get in trouble with children on the schoolyard, or people who are in universities, or those who are in business who decide to cut corners, cheat the law, and therefore get arrested and wind up in jail. Beloved ones, when you do not know the law of the spiritual path and the laws of the nations and the law of everything that is a part of your life, then you will see that life is a hit or miss proposition, and you cannot afford the lost time that will cost you. So you see, beloved, there is nothing that can come to you out of death and hell, or out of God and heaven itself, that God has not allowed. if you are a doer and a lover of the will of God, if you raise up the light of the Christ and do your simple calls for protection, then you must know that what comes to you is in one of a number of categories. It comes as blessing. It may seem to come as bane and turn out to be blessing later. And yet, because it seemed to be bane, and you did not react negatively to it or to your God or curse your God because he sent you some calamity, you score a certain number of points. But if when misfortune comes upon you, you rail against the Godhead, you are angry with your wife, you're angry with your dog, you're angry with your chickens, you're angry wherever you go, well, beloved ones, let's put that all aside, because you're going to get that test again and again and again. And if you keep on hitting your head against the wall, you are never going to pass that test, and you will re-embody, and you will still have that same test before you. And that is why I tell you truthfully, some people leave the path. They leave it early on because they see the handwriting on the wall when they've been around a few years. They leave it later because they have come to their 12th year or their 15th year or their 18th year with the Ascended Masters, and finally they say, hey, wait a minute, this isn't for me. Well, it takes some people that long, beloved ones. That's the way it goes. But you see, they came to that place in their 18th year or 15th year, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And this is a very, very sad situation indeed, because you see, there are only so many times you can be tested on the same point, and then it is over. And then you suffer the full karma of having taken the path and the teaching and not put it to good use when you had to make a decision between your lower ego and your divine ego. So, blessed hearts, what happens then? Why do you fail again? It is a combination of not having studied the law and simply not having the will to be obedient to that law. And again saying, no, no, I will not pass this test. I will not even take it. I will not even be in school that day. I will be absent from the etheric retreat, and I'll be absent from wherever I'm going to have that test in the earth. And so, that is the story of many individuals. Do not point the finger at the messenger or the Ascended Masters, beloved. Let those who then depart the path recognize that it is almost like playing Russian roulette, because you never know when you are on the last time that you will have the opportunity to pass that same test. If I could take out before you now from the record of the Keeper of the Scrolls and read to you the names of life streams you have known and not known, and told you where they began to decide that they would not take and pass that initiation, it would go back to Lemuria and to past ages that have not even been spoken of in the texts that have been written down in the past century regarding Earth's history. The failure to pass these tests is so ancient, beloved ones, that of a truth I must announce to you by the full authority of the Elohim of the first ray, that many are coming to the place in this life, in this decade, where they will face that test for the final time. And in that final facing of that test, or their unwillingness to face it, they will fall to the right or to the left, and they will not be allowed to see a mystery school for some many eons. And others, beloved ones, by their actions and by the accessibility of the light to them and the dispensations of the light to them, will come to realize that this time they have lost their threefold flame. Beloved ones, I do not say this in any way to frighten anyone or to intimidate. I come as the spokesman of the lawgiver, for you have a right to know when you are playing with the very destiny of your soul. At the same time, you are rationalizing that it is not necessary to take the next step and the next step of initiation, but it is all right to stay on one level and remain there as long as you like. Well, you cannot remain an initiate of the Great White Brotherhood on any level if that is your conclusion. It is a faulty conclusion, and it is not based upon the law of God. When you come to that conclusion, and you have failed to pass that test so many times, then you are removed from the path of the Great White Brotherhood entirely, and we must make room for others who have not had a preferred place as you have had, and now it is their turn to take those initiations from the very first steps. Beloved ones, this is not news to you. Your souls have known and been told from the day and the hour you first took up the teachings of the ascended masters that the consequence of the knowledge of that teaching and of that path is that you must take it to the fullest, drink the cup, drink all of it, and keep on moving forward. Thus, as you do so, you are those who awaken to everlasting life. If you do not, you will surely awaken to everlasting contempt, because you have contempt of the law and the lawgiver, and rail against God, and there shall be a gnashing of teeth and weeping. So understand, beloved, those who do not wish to take the initiations of the Lord of the first ray, the Archangel of the first ray, the Elohim of the first ray, and the Lords and Buddhas who come in the lineage of Sanat Kumara who are on the first ray, those who are not willing to take them then, these suffer a very grave loss, and they go away in anger. And that anger does increase. And perhaps sometime, somewhere, if they choose to cast it into the violet flame and beg the mercy of God, they may one day again find a sponsor. This then must be the understanding, and this must be the self-knowledge. Thus, I am Hercules, I am Amazonia. We come in the joy of our love of you, for we are Father, Mother, Elohim, out of the seven, and we have played a part in the very creation of the vehicles of your being, supplied to you at many levels, depending on the levels of consciousness where you have taken up your abode. We are very close to all evolutions of the earth, and we have seen the majority go the way of their own human will. We pray, we trust, and we hope against hope that they will return to the center of the path of God before it is too late. One of the initiations of the path, beloved, is that the soul does not always know when she has the last and final opportunity. Some souls do know, and even though they know, beloved, they yet make the wrong choice. What can we do but hang our heads and face the great central sun and bow once again to the will of God? May you then support all on the path with your joy, with your wisdom, with your love. May you support all to keep on keeping on. Just turn the corner and see the rainbow, and turn the next and see how the sun dissolves all sorrow and pain, and turn the next and see how that all you desire God is waiting to give to you each one as you pass every test. Thus Saint Germain has hurled that fiat to you, and we do also. May you pass every test of the will of God. Let us sing to Apollo and Lumina and have their dictation. $349.
Glorious Apollo from on high beheld us, wandering to find a temple for his praise. Sent angel Davis thither to shield us, while we ourselves such an altar might raise. Thus then combining, heart and hands joining, sing we in harmony Apollo's praise, Apollo's praise, Apollo's praise, Apollo's praise, Apollo's praise. Glorious Apollo, Elohim of wisdom, and beloved Lumina, we praise thy flame. Send forth the action and illumination to free our terror in God's holy name. Forward in victory, voices raising glory, sing we in harmony Apollo's praise, Apollo's praise, Apollo's praise, Apollo's praise, Apollo's praise. Glorious Apollo, legions of angels, bring to earth the holy Kumara's light. Teach our children, speak
So we say, let the floodgates of wisdom be opened. And so the Lord does say, the floodgates of wisdom shall be opened unto those who have completed their training on the first ray, their training under El Moria, Archangel Michael, God Mercury, Hercules, and Amazonia. Let those who embody and are obedient to the will of God, to them let the floodgates of wisdom be opened. Thus, there is a qualification, as there has been, beloved, since the coming of Alpha and Omega, of Lord Gautama Buddha, of Helios and Vesta, in a number of dictations, whereby the dispensations in the earth have been restricted to those who are the bearers of the light. This is not discrimination, beloved. This is divine discrimination on the part of those who sponsor the light in the earth. For those who have squandered the light and failed their tests, they then shall wait until another day to receive light and sponsorship again, for after all, neither we, the Elohim of God, or any other of the ascended host desire to be tied to planet Earth for eons and eons and eons to come. So you see, beloved, the very sponsorship by gurus ascended and unascended is predicated upon the willingness of gurus to tarry with the earth and her evolutions. Thus you wonder and marvel at the presence of your Sanat Kumara and the holy Kumaras, and we marvel also. But because of his example, many lesser beings who are ascended masters, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and even archangels have tarried with the earth earth. So I tell you at the very commencement of our address to you this day that you know not what great and deep gratitude you ought to have for Sanat Kumara, who has set the pace in carrying the standard of determining not to leave Earth's evolutions, not to do so, beloved ones, and all the many others of the Great White Brotherhood have therefore followed suit. Thus I ask you to give indeed a standing ovation to Sanat Kumara. Indeed, Sanat Kumara is the keystone in the arch of the entire planetary systems, and if you knew this entire solar system, so be seated, beloved ones, that I might instruct you in the Logos, that is the logic of the law itself. Why then do some have brilliance of mind? Why do some have facility with matters of study and understanding of the way in which the universe works? Well, I tell you, beloved, in some cases and in many cases, it is because their love of the will of God and their submission to that will has given to them full access to the mind of God. For these are trusted servants who on their honor and by their inner balance and inner determination would never, never misuse the power of God, the law of God, and the ray of that will itself. So then, beloved, these Chelas who have made themselves servants of those who are the Manus, of Vevasvata Manu, of the god and goddess Meru and Lord Himalaya, those who have come under the great divine director, these students of the law and lovers of the will of God, who will meditate upon that law day and night as the psalmist wrote, they come to the place where the floodgates of wisdom are opened unto them, for they can be entrusted with knowledge of how things work. The how then becomes the secrets of the mysteries of God that are revealed through the cosmic Christ intelligence and the mind of God, which is then superimposed upon the chakras and upon the human brain. So you see, beloved, those who live in the will of God will find extraordinary resources available to them through the Holy Spirit. And I speak not merely of academic learning, but of the knowledge of the deep things of God, because such ones are deeply involved in the mysteries of God's will and the path, deeply involved and concerned as to the outcome of all of the light bearers of the earth and the evolutions as well. those who have compassion, the compassion of the Holy Spirit, and have paid their dues on the first ray, they shall know this day in the earth, in the etheric octave, in the retreats, wherever they are, they shall know a new wisdom, a new wise dominion, a new self-knowledge, a new ability to unfold the fairest flower of the blossoming of the Christ and of the seed of the Buddha in the mind. Yes, beloved, wisdom is a gift that must be earned, and that well earned. Some of the knowledge that is in the earth, beloved, has been stolen by fallen angels and given to their own chelas and their own initiates on the left-handed path. This is difficult to avoid, for these fallen angels live thousands of years, and therefore they are here when civilizations rise and after they fall and when they rise again. And so they very easily inject into the earth and into their fallen ones the misuses of technology, science, invention, of the arts, and even of the DNA. So that is as it is, but they are shortly coming, one by one, day by day, century by century, to their termination, unless, of course, they bend the knee, confess their sins, confess the Lord Christ as their Lord and Savior, and are willing to pay to the last farthing every karma that they have made. Very few are willing to do this. It is too hard. And they are already addicted to their tranquilizers, to their drugs, to their needles. And it is easier to commit suicide, ultimate spiritual and physical suicide, than to retrace all those footsteps where they have gone out of the way since they left the great central sun. Beloved hearts, then, know the meaning of the path of the wisdom of God, and know that it is laid upon the foundation that begins with faith and with trust. I would speak to you then of trust. Trust in yourself. Trust that you can be a Chela on the path. A good portion of self-confidence. Trust then in Nel Moria. Trust in your I Am Presence and Holy Christ Self. And trust in God. When you begin to dig and turn over and over the layers of the unconscious and the subconscious, and you find such a heap of troubles and cross-currents of energy within your being, I say take recourse to the heart of the Blessed Mary and the heart of Kuan Yin, for here you have the Immaculate Heart that sees the original blueprint and understands the original point of the soul's perfection, and also understands with the compassion of a mother's heart how you went out of the way and how you can untangle all of those cross currents of warring in your members, warring with your God, warring with people around you. Such is the tremendous power of intercession of the Blessed Mary. And then you go to the merciful heart of Kuan Yin, and you understand that mercy is as mercy does. And if there is anything at all you can do to consume as quickly as possible the records of agony and pain and abuse within the unconscious, it is surely to extend mercy to every other part of life, and to have such a profound, compassionate sense of mercy toward those who have gone astray, that you can say to yourself, there, but for the grace of God go I will extend mercy, for no matter what problems I am going through, I know that that one needs me now with that tender, merciful, supporting presence to get me out of this self-condemnation, even this bitterness toward parents, toward God, toward whatever. So you see, beloved, the Immaculate Heart combined with the merciful heart. This is why we have intertwined the 14 stations of the cross for the woman and her seed betwixt these two heavenly beings. There is a great value in the mysteries of the mantras of Kuan Yin, for you set yourself in the minds of those, the ancient ones of China, whose language was similar to present-day Chinese, and therefore you begin to enter into and access the Phohatic keys of wisdom that come to you through the ancient mantras. And then you go back to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, one with Jesus, one with all the saints of Christendom, and if it is to be known, all the saints of all the earth. For Mary, as well as Kuan Yin, our world mothers, are the full manifestation and chalicing of the Divine Mother. So, beloved ones, you see then the unleashing of the floodgates of wisdom is quite an initiation, and it does not happen all at once, but the opening of those floodgates allows little by little, and more, as you make it your goal and your calling to be in harmony in the will of God. And the heavens are open to you, and the spheres of your causal body, where that great wisdom is stored. And the mind of God is open to you. And as you pursue the calls to cyclopea, not only is the mind opened, but the spiritual eye is opened. And you have knowledge that comes from nowhere except from God. Knowledge of things in the earth, knowledge of prophecy, knowledge whereby you suddenly may master this or that subject because you are such a devotee of God. Moving on then from the place of El Moria to the second ray is a very important step, and it is not allowed until you have passed many, many initiations. Yes, you can take the light and the science stolen by the fallen angels, but it will never be endowed with the flame of the Ark of the Covenant, which is why much intellectual knowledge is often brittle and sometimes boring, tiring, because it is not endowed with the Holy Spirit, because those who have bought it have gone in by another door. They have not entered in the true door of the Christ. And so the intellect can rave on and on. It can strut about and show its prowess and all that it has achieved. But the intellect with heart is as nothing. And what can you take with you of an accumulation of a lifetime or lifetimes of knowledge, intellectual knowledge, if that knowledge is not endowed with a heart flame, with the values of the will of God, with the values of wise dominion and submission of the soul to God? Now I say to you, beloved, with the turmoil in the subconscious and the unconscious and things you are turning over, it is very important to douse it with heavy doses of violet flame, to give the opportunity, to take the opportunity to give Kuan Yin's rosary once a month on the third Saturdays, beginning early in the morning. To complete that ritual, walk those stations, feel the softening of the heart, and know a new love for all people coming into your soul. This truly is the sign of the adept. The adept is the one of highest love, not of highest intellect. And yet the one who has the highest love will acquire the knowledge of the things of God as well as the knowledge of the things of this world, and can be very effective on the path of righteousness. I would suggest humbly, for even we as Elohim are humble before the tiny flame that burns in your heart. I would suggest, beloved, that having so given your honor and gratitude to Sanat Kumara, that you forget not your El Moria, that you recognize that he carries the weight of the divine dispensations for the perpetuation of your individual chela-ship and your individual community, that he can do so much more for you. But you must not take him for granted or enter into areas of mistrust when you see that those things that you are pounding your fists on the table for or stomping your feet for are not happening to you overnight. And therefore you begin to lose trust in the Master and forget, as the Force would have you forget, that there are tests to be passed. Thus I should say to you, beloved, that it is time for you to remember that every Tuesday is Moriah's day. And if you want all problems solved in your life, then let every one of you, and those of you who right now think you are excluded, well, you are not. Let every one of you come here by 5 or 5:30 in the morning on Tuesday and give all of your love and your heart, and the will of God decrees until it is time for breakfast and work. And know that plugging in on those Tuesdays is building the momentum for the 4th of each month. And I tell you, beloved, if you could see how Moriah turns heaven and earth upside down for you and lists his own angels, the angels of God Mercury and the angels of everyone that he can possibly call upon, why he knocks on the doors of countless ones throughout the hierarchy saying, may I borrow your angels, may I take them to Montana, may I use them in this war against this or that or the next thing. Beloved hearts, if you are as dedicated to El Morya as he is to you, then, and if you knew what he does go through to sustain this community, you would not even think twice about retiring early on Monday and getting into that court and giving him those decrees, and then that Tuesday evening returning for Moriah's sake. And then on the 4th, be willing to do what you would have been willing to do before you found this teaching, as the messenger has said to God before she found Saint Germain. I would crawl on my belly all the way around the earth just to find the ascended masters and their path. Blessed ones, how much do you want the sponsorship of El Morya? Well, I tell you, think about it, and then think to yourself how much you as a Chela will sponsor El Morya, will trust him, will rejoice in him, will know that whatever he is doing, he is working out the purposes of God in your life as much as you will let him. I say, let us inaugurate the remainder of the spring cycle unto the July conference with a renewed dedication to that heart, that diamond heart of light that will take you, beloved, where you want to go, as long as where you want to go is the will of God. Our counsel to you from the retreat of wisdom of Apollo and Lumina is to lock into the heart of your divine spouse El Morya, your guru, and to determine to be in that will of God until all things in your life come into place, every piece in the puzzle. Let the Zen Master Morya have his day in your heart and see what he can do for you and you can do for him. We, Apollo and Lumina, seal this conference, and we seal it in the greatest heart of all, the heart of Almighty God, who has given to us the heart of El Morya and his Chelas. Hail El Moria! 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 Let us sing the song to Arcturus and Victoria, that is the song to their decree. Would you be seated? Prepare for this dictation.